Hello, everybody. What's going on? It's 1 o'clock Central Time, freaking last day in March, which is like so crazy. And I am going to be talking all about like the nitty gritty parts of like my CRNA journey. I know a lot of people know, hello. I think a lot of people know like the overview of it, but I'm going to get to the nitty gritty stuff today. Hey, Philip, what's up, everybody? It's so good to see everybody. I haven't been live in a while. Hey, girl, how's it going? I had to do it in the afternoon because I've got like no child today. We might hear the dogs barking, but no baby today, so I figured a good time to go live. How's it going, everybody? What's up, Evelyn? I'm so glad you guys are here. I'll try to keep it, succinct and to the point. Philip, good job. First year of CRNA school, almost done. Now that is something to be freaking proud of. Shoot, get through the first week, right? The first month. Awesome job. That like flew by, Philip. I can't believe that. It's crazy. Those are awesome. Well, like I said, I am going to get into like the nitty gritty stuff of kind of my kind of journey through school. And my hope is today is that you'll see some of my struggles. Hey, you'll see some of my struggles and you'll see some of what you're going through. And I hope I can just give you guys a little bit of hope and not like motivation necessarily and not like inspiration, though I hope you'll get that as well. But I really hope you guys will get off of here and you will feel like committed and you will feel like empowered that y'all could do like anything, no matter what comes your way. That is like my goal for today. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of, hopefully some gems that you can utilize. And then if anybody wants to know anything more about the membership or mentorship or anything that I offer, then we can chat about it at the end. And I'm happy to answer any questions and just chat with y'all. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So basically, I really had to because all these things were like coming up for my CRNA journey that I forgot about. Like I had to go back to like my journals. I had to go back to like my old blog to see to really actually remember like what was happening. I say that because I think it's really good news. And I hope you guys can take comfort in the fact that what you feel like right now is so like monstrously terrible and atrocious and like whatever, like it's not going to be this heavy and this hard anymore. Like there will be a point where you'll be able to heal from a lot that you're going through. And it's not going to like feel so bad and take over so much. Cause I literally like the stuff I'm going to tell you guys, like I couldn't even think about Rhode Island, Boston. I couldn't even think about it because I was like so traumatized by everything that happened. So you will get to a place that whatever you're going through right now will just be a memory and you'll be able to see like the good and the lessons that come out of that. So I hope you guys can take that, at least one thing from today, can take that what is happening to you right now does not define where you're going to be and how you're going to feel and what's going to happen in the future. So that's what we got to talk about is that commitment and that pushing through. I have like this cough. Sorry, guys. All right. So let's go back to 2014. So 2014. I was in New York and I knew I wanted to be a CRNA. So I was like doing all the things. I was doing I was getting my certifications. I was, shadowing. I was taking organic and biochem. I was doing everything. So I had a plan. I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to move to Arizona because I had lived there before and I loved it. So I was like, I'm going to go to Arizona. My boyfriend at the time was going to go with me and we were going to buy a house there and I was going to go to CRNA school at Midwestern in Arizona. That was like my plan. I found like the condo I wanted to have, all the good things. He had like got the ring, like we were supposed to be engaged, like all these like things were like happening, right? So I was like, all right, let's do this. Okay. So I packed my bags. He was like looking for a job at the time. He was like in the Chicago area. So he was like getting a job out there. And I, went from New York, packed my bags, went to Arizona. And I was like, I'm going to start my new life as a, be engaged and have a house and go to CRNA school. And I was like, so excited. You guys, 2 weeks in. So I moved to Arizona by myself initially with my dog. 2 weeks in, my dog hurts her back. thousands of dollars, right? Because she was like 4 years old. So thousands of dollars I spent on her. My new job that I had gotten, it was a travel contract, was like, it was not meshing with anybody. It was like awful. That was like terrible. My boyfriend and I were fighting all the time, and I had no internet. Like zero internet, because it takes like, when you move, it takes like, I don't know, forever. So I'm like sitting in the dark. Hey, Dr. Mitchell, what's up? So I'm like sitting in the dark. I'm miserable. I'm spending all this money. I'm fighting with my boyfriend. And I had this thought. I was like, why do I always end up miserable? Like, I feel like I've got this great career. Like, I'm a nurse. I have all these goals. Like, why do I keep ending up in this like exhaustive, feeling like a failure, never really happy, like pit? I was like, what is going on? Like, I was like, there just has to be a better way. So I keep muddling through the job. The job did get better. I made really good friends, by the way, but I'm like muddling through. And in February, like my good friend called me and she was like, she was like, I'm in school. She was in CRNA school. She's like, I'm in school. She was like, they are this, this school was making a transition. So she was like, they're not going to take a lot of students. So she's like, you should just apply and just see what happens. And I'm like, and the app was due in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, seriously? But I was like, whatever, like, you never know, like, whatever. So I scrambled, literally, personal statements, references, like, got everything together, submitted my application, didn't tell my boyfriend because we were still kind of fighting. And I was like, whatever, this is probably not going to happen. So, and then I had looked up in like the road, because I was like, where's Rhode Island? Like, I'd never been past New York. So I was like, where the heck is Rhode Island? I don't know where that is. So so what was I going to say? So, and I was looking up jobs for him. I was like, let me make sure he could move here too, because he was planning on going to Arizona. So I look up jobs for him and I'm like, wow, this could be like really good for us. I'm like, okay, let's just go for it. So somehow I ended up getting an interview. I flew from Arizona all the way to Rhode Island, interviewed, flew back, another huge cost of those plane tickets going back and forth. And lo and behold, I ended up getting into CRNA school, right? Completely shocked, didn't even expect it. So I was like, well, now I got to tell him, because I didn't tell him I was doing any of this stuff. We were barely getting along anyways. So I called him and told him, I was like, hey, I know the plan was Arizona, but I got into CRNA school in Rhode Island. So I feel like I should go there. And he was literally I did not like the way he responded. I didn't like it. So I dumped him. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with you. This is miserable. I hate my life. I'm going to start fresh. Forget it all. Right? So we broke up. It was not pretty at all. And a couple days later, my mom called me. I was working 6P to 3A at the time. I know, weird shift. And my mom had called me right at 3 a.m. in the morning. So it was probably 5, 6 a.m. in I think she was in Kentucky. And she was taking care of my grandma, her mother, who was not doing well. And so she had called me and kind of told me what the thing was. And I just told her kind of what to do. And I said, just curl up with her, hold her, tell you love her, and I knew when I woke up that afternoon, my grandma was going to be gone. So then that happened. And I went to call my ex-boyfriend, but at this point he had totally blocked me. And I was once again, alone, miserable. I'm like, I don't understand. This is awful. This is not what I pictured my life to be. This is not what I wanted. Right? So basically what happened from there is now I had drained my bank account a lot because my dog was sick. I had flown to Rhode Island and back. Now it was, so this was all happening in May, right? So now it's May and I'm starting CRNA school in July. Okay. So I got to figure out how to get myself out of this contract. I have to move from Arizona to Rhode Island, which is totally not easy to do, between, flying back and forth, between all the apartment fees, getting a new apartment, moving fees, paying to move across the country, to move my car across the country, all these things that kept happening, broke, literally all the money I had made and saved traveling, being a nurse for probably 8 to 2014, 6 years at that point. I had nothing, right? Nothing. I came in on fumes. And I pulled up my journal, and this is literally the journal entry that I wrote at some point. My ex-boyfriend was working to bring us back together, and I wanted no part of it. My grandma was gone, and I was moving across the country for full-time grad school. All of the things I thought were going to happen, the things I planned, were simply gone. No wedding, no engagement, no Arizona, no house, nothing. God was taking me somewhere else. So I wrote that at that point. I was like, what is my life, guys? So then I finally make the move. If you guys are on my email list, you guys know like part of the story. So finally it's time to move, right? Finally, I've got all the moving fees, everything's done. My car's going to be shipped off. So I hop in a plane and I start anesthesia school literally the next day. So I was supposed to land in Rhode Island, like probably sometime in the evening, stay with my friend, and then go to orientation like the next day. You guys, layover after layover after layover. I ended up in Chicago, right? My flight to Rhode Island was completely canceled. I don't even remember if it was weather. I don't know what was going on. Probably weather, right? I don't know. And so, well, it was July, so who knows? And I get to Chicago and everything's canceled and I could not get to Rhode Island. Like I can't get there. Like I tried everything. I'm like calling everybody I know, calling my parents. I'm like, I start CRNA school the next day. I have to get there. Like this is not negotiable. So I jump in my car. I get a rental car because my car is being shipped. So I get in my rental car with my dog. At this point, it's like midnight, right? I drive to Michigan and because they had a flight there. And I catch a flight in Michigan with my dog. I have no luggage at this point. I don't know where my luggage is. Totally gone. And I finally get to Rhode Island with basically 20 minutes to spare. So I call my friend and I'm like, look, I have like no time. I don't have my luggage. I don't have any clothes. I have nothing. And I literally 20 minutes orientation was like starting. So she was in clinical. So she got one of my classmates who I didn't even know, total stranger, to come get me from the airport. So he totally comes, picks me up from the airport. I have like pink pants on, a sparkly shirt. I smell terrible because it's been like over 24 hours now. I've been like traveling. I have my dog. He picks me up. I run to my friend's house, like get myself kind of together in 5 minutes. I have her clothes on and I get into CRNA school orientation with like 2 minutes to spare. I don't know how I freaking did it, right? So guys, super just ridiculous start. And mind you, I have no money. I don't know anybody there. I'm like living on my friend's couch. I have no boyfriend and I've been with this, I was with him for 10 years and I'm just like, here I am. I guess I'm going to start anesthesia school, right? So, and from there, so once again, how you start is not always how you have to end, okay? And from there, school started. And I'll tell you guys, moving from West Coast to East Coast and that time change is brutal, especially when you're getting up early and going to classes, like brutal. I remember just being so tired. I remember being so exhausted. I remember just thinking like, did I make a mistake? Like, what am I doing? Like, and then school starts and it's like all didactics because my program was like front loaded. Biochemistry, failed it. You can still fail things and you'll make it out. Failed biochemistry. We all, like my whole class sat in the library bawling our eyes out. And I was like lonely through all of it. I felt just so like alone. And I'm just like, why does this keep happening to me? Like I keep getting what I want, but I'm never like happy when I get there. I was like, what is going on? Right? So me and my ex are like not talking. However, I hear that he ended up getting a job in Boston and apparently he like moved to Boston. I had no clue, like no clue. I don't know if he thought we would, because we were not talking like at all. So I tried to contact him, but he like totally blocked me because I had this moment. I had done a lot of crying, a lot of reflection, a lot of journaling, like a lot of things. And I finally felt in my soul, I was like, I think I made a mistake with him. Like, I think I want him back. And it wasn't like I was lonely and I wanted him back. I legitimately was like, this is my person. Like, this is the person I'm supposed to be with. Oh shit. Like, what do I do now? Right? So I finally, I don't know, I can't even remember, guys, this nitty gritty of like the worst time of my life, right? I'm trying to get through school. I'm like living on a couch, like so ugly. I can't even remember how long I lived on our couch for. Oh my God. And I don't know, we ended up like touching base at one point and we ended up meeting up in Boston and it was just super awkward. And it's like, you know, he had been a part of my life since I was 18 years old, like it'd been 10 years. And like we met up and it was just so weird. However, I just kept to it and I was like, you know what? I feel like in my soul that we're going to figure this out. I'm just going to hold on. And I remained patient. He was very angry at me. You know, things were very messy. And I just was like, hung on. So this was like August, September. I started school in July. This is like August, September, October. So finally December comes around and he literally asked me like to be his girl again. Okay. He was like, you're my girlfriend again. Like we're in school. And we decided like, all right, let's give it another try. Let's date. Let's do this. Right. So he actually moved in with me. I had this like just gross little apartment in Rhode Island. Rhode Island is expensive. For those of y'all that live out in Boston, Rhode Island area, that is expensive. And it is very expensive when you have no money and you're living off loans, like very expensive. So he moved in with me. He was working in Boston. He commuted like 4 hours a day, but I was like close to my school. And, yeah. And I wish I could be like, yeah. And we lived together and it was great and everything was fine. No, you guys. I was in CRNA school, right? So I'm doing all the things. I'm going to clinical. I'm getting up early. I'm getting like beat up in school. I'm like miserable. I feel like a failure. I'm having imposter syndrome, like all the things, right? And then when I went home, like me and him were just not, we were just fighting. Like I just remember those being some of like the darkest, worst times of my life. Like our relationship was destroyed. We'd completely destroyed the 10 years that we had together. I got to clinical early. I can just blatantly remember crying in the operating room because I didn't know what the day was bring. I was like so scared of like what clinical was going to bring. And then I'm trying to pick up the pieces of like the mess that kind of ensued in like Arizona. And it was like crazy. All right. Are you guys doing okay? I'll like pause for a second. You guys all good? Questions? Comments? So I just want you to like picture like kind of, I don't know what's going on in your life, but like just that feeling. Oops, sorry about that. And just so not able to see within like 5 feet in front of you, right? And you're just sitting there wondering like, why did I do this? Is this worth it? Can I do this? Like, I'm such a failure, like all of those things, right? While my entire life at my apartment was just like falling apart. So then, and even at one point, I totally forgot about this, you guys. At one point, I moved out of our apartment. Things were so bad. I moved out of our apartment. I went and lived with one of my classmates, who I still love dearly to this day. She was like my crutch. Like you find yourself, even if it's one person or someone, you find yourself and you freaking like, or you find a friend and you freaking hold on to that person. I mean, she was like my lifeboat through school. Let's see, what'd you say about your commute to school was? I lived about 1.5 hours away. Yeah, so I lived super close to the school, but he commuted like 4 hours to Boston to like work like a day. But I lived super close to like home base and the school, but we also had clinicals like an hour away. So I still had to drive and get up early and drive to clinicals all over the kind of Massachusetts like area and stuff like that. But I did have to drive further at one point. I'll tell you that in a second. So anyways, so at one point things got so bad. I literally took like my books and like all my stuff, all my CRNA stuff, and literally moved to my classmate's house. I lived on her couch, right? I lived on a lot of couches in CRNA school. So I lived with her for a little bit. And then I remember we had this turning point. And I was going to the AANA in DC. So it was like August at this point of like the year. So it's been almost like a year of just ugliness, right? Of craziness. And I remember he finally said to me, he was like, I don't think I'm going to be here when you get back. And I was like, like gut check, right? But it was like, we both knew that like, this was not working out. Like, and for those of you like who are in school, like it is hard. I mean, it's definitely difficult to have relationships, you know what I mean? Because you have so much to do while you're in school that you can't always fight every battle. And sometimes I felt like such a victim because I felt like I couldn't stand up for myself. I felt like I couldn't do what I needed to do because I had to focus on school. Like I had to be over here. So I get that feeling too. I've totally been in that space as well. But I will tell you is that, I'm talking about a lot of the bad stuff, which I'm telling you, I never could have been able to talk about this a couple years ago, ever. But when you start to heal from stuff and you process a lot of what has happened, like you are able to go back and see some of the good. And I look back and we had so much fun at times. Like, yes, we were miserable, but we went to Bar Harbor, Maine. We went to Block Island. Like we explored, we woke up at 4 a.m. and worked out together before I went to clinical and did stuff. Like there was still good amidst all the mess. And that is like my biggest advice to y'all that are in relationships or just friendships and family is that we always non-negotiably spent there was a day together. No books, no drama, no nothing. We put everything down and it was usually like a Saturday or a Sunday because that was like all I had to offer. And I really honestly believe like that's what got us through some of the stuff is like, yes, we'd always been good friends was number one. And number two, even amidst all the fighting and all the just trying to repair a relationship, we always had a day that we spent together. Always. And I'm just like, if you can put aside that time to still connect with your friends, your partner, whoever, it'll make all the difference. Cause like I said, I'm talking about all the bad stuff, but there were some really good moments in there. And we did have like a lot of fun sometimes. And you have to do that while you're in school too. It can't just be like all or nothing. But with all of that being said, I literally I didn't have much of a fight, right? I couldn't I just had to let things be. I couldn't fight them all the time because I'm like, I got to do school. And I was so exhausted from doing school. So basically I go to DC to AANA and I'm expecting him to be gone. And it's just like, oh my God, we tried for almost a year. We couldn't make it work, whatever. So I come back from the AANA and he was still there. And I can't remember what he said to me, but he said something just like, let's just keep trying to make this work. Which remember that thought, guys. Are you willing? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to figure out? How uncomfortable are you willing to be if you know deep down that something is meant for you? So just reflect on that a little bit. So we kept limping along. And guys, 4 weeks, okay? So I graduated like the end of December. 4 weeks left of school. So this was like the beginning of December. Yeah, the beginning of December. Maybe 3 weeks left of school. We get freaking evicted like from our apartment. Like straight up evicted because I think it was the dogs. The dogs are barking. I think someone below us had just had a baby and our dog were having issues. I don't even know. We literally get evicted. I had 3 weeks left of school. So I can't, you guys. So I'm trying to study for boards, finish up clinical, do all the things. And I had a Nissan Altima and then he had a Ford Explorer. So I couldn't afford a moving truck. We had no money. I had nothing. Hey, Mallory. So basically we had to throw whatever didn't fit in my Nissan Altima and his Ford Explorer had to get thrown away. So we would go out at 2 a.m. and throw mattresses, whatever, mattress pads, anything that could not fit in the car. We had to throw it away. And I just remember, I couldn't find the picture on my phone, but I gotta find I hope I kept that picture literally of me being smushed in my Altima with our dogs, with our stuff. And we moved to Boston, right outside of Boston, area. So we schlepped there. And then guys, we moved into this apartment. Guys, I cannot. It was basically, I think it was close to $2,000 a month because we were outside of Boston, not inside Boston. So like I said, it's very expensive to live your broke life in CRNA school on the East Coast. So it was around $2,000 just for the rent. I think we still had to pay heat and stuff. Well, he did. I have nothing to offer nobody at that point. And guys, I'm not kidding you. We could lay in bed and fry an egg. I could just lay in bed and boil eggs and fry an egg. It was a studio. It was cold in there. It was so awful. It's the middle of December. It was terrible. It was terrible. We had our one little TV and taking turns. It was a hot mess. So anyway, so basically, are you guys doing okay? We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. So basically that was kind of the journey through school, right? Just very up and down, a lot of tears, a lot of just like, what am I doing? Is this all worth it? But I also, at the time, I didn't know what my life would be like, but I knew whether me and him were going to make it or not, I had to take care of myself and I had to still create a life for myself. So I was in school. It was never an option for me to fail. Like I wasn't going to fail. I couldn't. I wanted to like give up and whatever, but I couldn't do it because I owed it to myself to finish and to figure out what was on the other side of that. Like failure was never an option. I didn't even entertain the thought because I was like, I can't go back. What was I going to do? Go back to Arizona? Like what? Like I had nowhere to go, but like to keep just moving forward and seeing what the heck would even happen. So I graduate. Yay. He came to my graduation. I guess we were on talking terms at that point. Living in a studio apartment now. Not that our other one was that much bigger. I passed my boards. I kind of went back and forth between Boston because my parents were in New York. So I went back and forth in there and then life was perfect, right? Yeah, no. So this is January now. I passed my boards in January of 2017. Yeah, 2017. And I actually guys, at this point, I'm broke because now my credit cards are maxed. Now I'm not getting any more like loans, like Grad Plus loans. I have nothing. I can't even put gas in my car. I couldn't even go to Rhode Island to like see my friends. So I just sat. So I'm a CRNA now. Yay. I'm a CRNA. I passed my boards. Woohoo. But I still had to go through credentialing. I still had to, because I got a job actually back in Illinois. The plan was then to move back to Illinois. And I literally could do nothing. I sat in that freaking apartment. Credit cards maxed out. I used my credit card points to get gas cards, like Exxon gas cards, so that I could get gas in my car, that I could like go somewhere so I didn't just sit in that apartment and like rot all day. And the crazy thing is I could not get a job as a travel nurse back then, which is crazy now. But back then, because I hadn't worked as a nurse for so long, nobody would take me as a travel nurse. So I couldn't even work as like a locum travel person, like literally. So I just sat there as a CRNA waiting, doing nothing. I was calling like the licensing office in Illinois every day. I was like, please, I need to work. Oh my God. Right. So it was a freaking like hot mess. Right. So then finally, I think May comes around. So January to May, you guys, no money, like nothing to do. And finally I moved to Illinois and I start my job in Chicago, and he still stays behind in Boston because he was not having luck finding a job. And he had they gave him a promotion. And I just want to say, like, his job there was a stepping stone to his entire career now. So even like for him, like that job that he took and that leap of faith that he took moving to Boston, where we even like weren't together or not talking, changed the trajectory of his career. So both of that time for both of us changed the game. So just because you are going through hell and just because you can't see like even 2 feet in front of you, don't underestimate the power of what that's going to do on the back end, because what's happening now could be the beginning of what's going to change everything tomorrow if you stay committed to it, guys. So I move back here. I start my new job. And for those of you, some of y'all know this, I started my new job. I worked 98 hours in 2 weeks. 98 hours in 2 weeks, brand new CRNA. I think I utilized every skill I learned. I will never forget those 2 weeks as long as I live. I did awake intubations. I did hearts. I did central lines. I did blocks. Like I literally was just like, is this a joke? Like every single thing I learned. So everything. And guys, guess what? It was like super autonomous and a lot of people are on vacation. And guys, guess what? I did it. And I had not touched a patient since December. The last time I touched a patient was December. I sat in a studio apartment by myself with no money until May. And I was still able to like take care of those patients. Like everybody did fine. So I promise you, no matter how much time has passed, when you start your job, everything, all the work that you are doing now, whether you're like a nurse and you're learning critical care, whether you're in school, all that stuff settles in and you're able to use it. I freaking promise you. Because if I can like work those 98 hours somehow and utilize legit every skill I learned in school, like So can you. I mean, who really does awake intubations like that? I literally did like 2 in 1 week. My first week as a CRNA. Who does that, right? So anyway, so I'm like working as a new CRNA. I'm starting my job, got a little money, you know what I mean? Feels good to actually make some cash. It does feel good to make a little bit of money. And me and him, he's still living in Boston, and like we're still, I don't know, we're still kind of fighting, right? We're still fighting. We still got issues, right? Like we're still trying to work through stuff. So let's see. He tells me to go. He called, because we used to sit in bars. You guys, we used to sit in bars and, oh, there's a coyote out there. It's creepy. Look, all my dogs are inside. We used to sit in bars, like just daydreaming of houses. We would look at houses where we wanted to live. Like we would just daydream about life, about being happy, about all these things. And I remember he called me. It was like maybe in the summer or like September at this point. I've been working since May as a CRNA. And he called me and we were like fighting. And he was like, I want you to go look at a house. I'm like, I'm not looking at a house. He's like, I want you to go look at this house. It literally looks like what we were like dreaming of, like when we were in school. I'm like, look, I'm not interested, dude. I don't like you. Like, I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't want to do it. He begs me to go look at the house. I go look at the house, right? I loved it, you know, but I was just like, not with you. And he looked at me or called me and he was like, Amanda, can you please just trust that I have a plan? Can you just trust me? And I was like, all right, well, we got this far, right? So anyways, that house is the house we are living in now, all right? Because I did keep the faith. He did propose to me October. So we like closed on the house like a month later. So he like proposed to me and we get this house and life is good, right? I'm a CRNA. I got a ring on my finger. I got a house. He bought me the car I wanted. Perfection, right? Right. Guys, no, wrong. Wrong. So essentially, and then I'm going to wrap up the story. We're going to get into some other stuff here. Essentially, guys, the same thing happened, right? I had everything. I had everything that I worked for, everything that I wanted, everything that I dreamed for, everything that I prayed for in school, right? It all was happening. It all was here. But guess what? I was still miserable. I remember being like, when am I just going to be happy? Like, why does this keep happening to me, right? Why? I keep working hard. I keep doing the things. Like, what is going on? And I remember I like sat there, and I remember when I was in anesthesia school, there was like this video on YouTube that I stumbled across. It was like a sermon. And I remember watching it back then, and it was a big reason why I stayed with him, because of the words that were spoken during that. And I hadn't seen it since then. So I'm laying in, like, right there on that bed, and I'm sad and crying, because apparently I never cry. It's a lot of crying in the last few years. And I was just laying there, and I was like, it popped up, that sermon, and I hadn't seen it in 3 years at this point. And I watched it. And I remember at the end, he talks about how his dad had gotten like really sick, and how his dad was just a bad person. You know, his parents' marriage was super rocky. And I remember his mom was like, I'm going to just bring him home and I'm going to take care of him. And he was like, well, why are you going to take care of him? He was a terrible person. He was a terrible husband. Why the heck you were going to do that? And she looked at her son and she was like, because I made a vow. And that like stuck with me. And I was like, and I remember that was a turning point. I remember laying in this bed, miserable, wondering what the hell I'm going to do with my life. But I said, you know what? I made a vow. I made a vow to my husband. I made a vow to myself. And I am committed. Like even in the deepest, darkest moments in anesthesia school, I was committed. Like I was committed that there was something else, that there was some other purpose. Like I had to think that there was something that all of this was going to be worth one day. And so I was like, we're going to work this out. We are going to figure this out. Like I have to, right? I'm committed to it. I wasn't motivated. I wasn't inspired. I didn't feel like it. I had a lot of negative thoughts, but I was committed to my husband. I was committed to the friendship that we had, and I was committed to the career that, I had dreamed of and the lives I could impact, and I stayed. And guys, let me tell you, guys have any questions or anything? I know it was like a lot of fun stuff. Hey, Mike. Mike was the CRNA I started with at first job. We were 2 baby CRNAs together. Figuring it out in Chicago. You guys good? So I say all of that is because life is just never going to stop, right? It's not going to stop when you start school. It's not going to stop during school. Things are going to happen, right? You're going to get pregnant. You're going to have a baby. Maybe you'll get married in school. There's going to be loss. There's going to be death. There's going to be change. Like, things are going to happen before school. They're going to happen during school. And if you don't deal with a lot of those things, they're going to continue happening to you after school. You're going to think they're all happening to you, right? When in reality, we can figure anything out. You can figure anything out. And I think that we forget that so often. I love that Denzel Washington says, like that quote he says, is like easiness is our greatest threat, not hardship. Ease is our greatest threat. And I'm saying that, guys, that things are going to happen to you. Things are going to happen all around you, no matter what. And you're going to feel a certain type of way about them. You're going to feel negative about them, maybe about yourself, maybe about other people. But we get so focused on looking at other people to make us happy, right? I was like, why isn't he making me happy? Why aren't all these things that I bought? Why isn't this job making me happy? It was because I hadn't dealt with a lot of the things that happened during school because I wasn't happy, right? It's not anyone's job. It's not my husband's. It's not your partner's. It's not your friends. It's not your preceptors. It's not your program director. It's not your classmates. It's not anybody's job to make us happy, to make us feel good about things. It is our job within ourselves to figure out if we are committed. It is our job within ourselves to find our, I used to say to find your own happiness, but to find what you're willing, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to look dumb? Are you willing to be all in? Are you willing to let go of perfectionism and just jump in and just figure it out? And what are we really afraid of? Are we afraid of just feeling bad? Is that what we're scared of? Being uncomfortable? And the whole kind of point or kind of title of this talk is, what are the thoughts? What are the stories? Who are the people? What are the things that are keeping you in abdication? And abdication is failing to fulfill a responsibility. What in your life are you failing to do because of thoughts in your head, because of stories you're telling yourself, because of what's happened in the past? I couldn't move forward in my marriage and in my life because I was holding myself back of all the things that had happened into the past. I wasn't willing to let go of those things and really believe that I could find something better in the future. I wanted it. I knew it was there. I had to keep pressing forward. But when I got the holy grail of the CRNA job and the CRNA and the house and all that, I still had to go back and figure a lot out from the past. I had to go back to a lot of past thoughts and past hurts and past things, and not only forgive myself, but also forgive him as well, right? We are constantly have this narrative of thoughts and things in our heads that are abdicating us or holding us back from what we're really supposed to be doing. You have to choose to keep going, right? No matter what. And I think I posted, if you look at my story, I put all those thoughts, all the things you guys think. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. What if I don't make it? What if I fail? What if I look dumb? And like I said before, failing was just not an option. I was going to figure that out. I knew that much. My relationship was probably going to fail, I thought, but I wasn't going to fail at school. I was just going to have to figure it out because there was just no other option for me. And you guys, don't be so afraid of suffering. We're so scared of being uncomfortable. we're so scared of suffering. And I'll tell you what, I suffered that whole way through. I was miserable in anesthesia school. I really was. There were great pockets. There were great moments. But there were also times I was really, and like, look, I'm alive. I'm here. It's okay. None of it killed me, right? It was just emotions. It was thoughts I was having, right? Let your suffering, let the things that are hard for you now, choose to let them refine you. Don't resist them. Don't fight them. Feel them and let it refine you, right? The thing is, guys, when you guys start school, no matter what's happening in your life, like I started anesthesia school with like a bang. Like I just came rolling in like a hot mess on wheels, right? When you start school, you're starting something new. And it's totally natural for your brain to literally freak out because now you're in this like new danger zone area, right? And then what happens? As soon as we freak out because we're in something new, we like go to freak out zone. Like, I don't think I should be here. This imposter syndrome. I don't belong. And you feel like everything you're doing isn't working. And then you just get scared of failure. And then you think you're not going to be able to make it. And then da-da-da-da-da. Which is fine, guys. We all go through that. That's because you're starting something new. You're starting school, right? And you come into school with like failure baggage, right? Because you don't realize I could not move forward in my marriage because we had all this failure baggage from before. And same thing for school, guys. Like trace back to like, I don't know, like your parents or whoever raised you or like school or whatever. Like you have all these past things that have happened to you and they're like ingrained back in your head. And then when you start school, you bring all that failure baggage and you look at all your past failures and everything that's happened to you and being told that you don't belong or you're not good enough or not doing well on tests or I wasn't a good student here, right? I'm just not a good student. I'm like, whatever these like thoughts and whatever these stories are that you're telling yourself, you bring them right into you with CRNA school. And it's no wonder we all have imposter syndrome and we all feel not good enough and we think that our worth is on the table. And it's not. You're in school to learn skills to keep patients alive while they're getting anesthesia, right? Like that's it. Like that's why you're in school. You're not there for like a self-worth test. You're there to learn how to give anesthesia. And it's normal that all the failure baggage, all these negative emotions come out because you're in a new environment and you're doing something new. And the thing is though, we let the negativity, we let all that like stall us and like make us pause. And, basically like I look back, like I was just letting all my emotions run my experience, right? He was mean to me. I was upset. My preceptor was bad. Like I was just running around in my circumstances, just like, this sucks. There was like no control. I took no power. I took no control in that. I was like a victim to what was happening around me. Instead of just realizing that all what was happening is my brain was just trying to protect me. It was just trying to protect me from everything that was happening. But I could actually choose to look at things differently and to think differently. And God, I wish I would have known that back then. It would have been a little bit easier. And another thing, guys, you have no proof or evidence that it'll work out, right? I've had conversations with you guys. Well, what if it doesn't work out? Like, what if I don't graduate? Or what if this happens? Or what if this, right? So you have no proof or evidence. I had no evidence that I was going to stay with him. I had no evidence that I was going to, get a job and be our CRNA and do things. I had no clue. I was just in school, like muddling through, right? But I did hold fast. I just knew it had to get better. If I just kept going forward, if I kept, I did do some work on myself. It had to get better, right? I had the same fears. I had all the doubt and I had zero evidence that everything was going to work out. The only evidence I had was that everything was falling apart. But too often we look at everything that is like falling apart and then we use it all as evidence to how we're going to fail in the future when really, guys, go back and look at like the strength you have. Like now I can go back and look at like, man, Like, I really was committed. Like, I sat in my car and bawled my eyes out and had to like lift my legs out of the thing, but I went in there. I showed up. I did. I never missed a day, ever. I showed up every single day when I didn't want to, when I thought I sucked, when me and him were fighting, when I was like living on couches. Like, I showed up. I was committed to the process, not inspired, not motivated. And the thing is, guys, if you don't start, and what I kind of want to leave you guys with today is like, start being aware of like what things are playing in your head. Because this is what's changed like everything for me. Because all of the things that were going on in school came back to bite me in the ass post, like once I got married. Like all the things I didn't process, that I didn't work on, that I like buried, came right there in that bed. I laid in that bed right there, curled up in a ball, wondering why the hell I was so unhappy. It was because I thought circumstances and other people were going to make me happy. I felt that if I just got all the things, then I would be happy. But guys, I had to forgive. I had to work on stuff. I had to look at those thoughts that weren't serving me. I had to, change my mindset, right? And everyone's like, oh, mindset, woo, 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 woo. All it really is about being aware of the things that are going on in your head and knowing that you can change that narrative, and therefore you can change what's happening in your life. That's it. And you can deal with things now, or you can deal with things later. That's my thing. CRNA school is literally the perfect opportunity when you are being stretched, when you are being pushed, when you are uncomfortable, humiliated at times. It is a perfect time for you to really dig in and grow, and to also heal. And that's a lot of what I have my students do in the membership, a lot of what we do, because I don't want anyone to feel like they have to do this alone, because it's hard, right? It's difficult, it's challenging, but it also could be one of the greatest moments that's ever happened to you. And I will also give you guys this, is that I would 100% do all of that all over again. I wouldn't change a damn thing about it. I would change nothing, because all of it has ended up serving me now as a mother, as a wife. Now we have a much better marriage than we ever had before, right? Because we've healed, we forgave. I would do everything that happened again to be in the knowledge and to be in the place that I am now. And that's what I want you to look at school as. Like, how much stronger and how much more wisdom and how much more knowledge are you going to have if you stay committed to what you want for yourself? I have this picture of something I was going to post. Maybe I'll put it up later. But I have CRNA. And the C is for courage and commitment. The R is for resilience, which you get through self-compassion. The N is for neutrality, relationship management. And the A is for awareness and self-management, right? Those are what it takes to become a CRNA. And you can do that. You can create those things for yourself now. You don't have to wait. Like I said, if you wait till you graduate to be happy, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. If you wait until everything is good, you're in for a rude awakening. How can you start shifting the thoughts in your head, how can you start shifting that so that you can be happy now? Are you willing to fail? Are you willing to be vulnerable? Are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to look stupid? Are you committed to it? And I want you to really, this is your job, I want you to really go for, let's see, what is it, Thursday? For the weekend, today, next week, I want you to really listen to what you're saying to yourself. And I want you to ask yourself, is this serving me? Is this moving me forward? Because let me remind you, the hard things are never wasted. The hard things always bring a great reward, and they won't last forever. What if being in CRNA school, what if your journey to getting into CRNA school, what if that could change everything about your life? I mean, that was such a critical, point for me. Like I had to go back there and I had to forgive that person and I had to forgive my husband so that things could get better there. Because like I said, I was constantly wanting my circumstances to make me happy. That's why when I got to freaking Arizona and I had a plan and my plan fell apart, I was automatically miserable, right? That's the thing. Nothing outside of you is going to fix how you feel. You have to do that right up here. And guys, both things are uncomfortable, right? Yes, anesthesia school is uncomfortable as hell, but so is not doing anesthesia school. So is not finishing, right? They're both uncomfortable. And the beauty of it all is you get to choose. You get to decide how to feel. We're so focused on the what. Like we want the what. I want the how. Tell me how to do it. What did you do? How do you do it? We want that so badly. And we forget about the who. Right? You can figure anything out. Who do you want to be? What kind of CRNA do you want to be? If you work on the who, the kind of person you want to be, then success will follow that. Success does not follow sparkly things and, all the stuff like that. Success follows when you become who, like when you step into who you want to be and you worry more about your character. There's this awesome quote that I also found in my journal when I was like looking at this. It's Anna Quindler, and she says, "Get a life, not a manic pursuit of the next promotion, a bigger paycheck, or a larger house," right? That's what I was doing. I was on this like manic thing of like, if I could just get the travel assignment and get this and get fix my relationship, everything will be fine, right? She says, "Get a life in which you are generous. Work hard on crafting your spirit and character, the who, more than crafting your resume. More than crafting how it looks on the outside. Work on crafting you. Because who you are will always be more important than what you do. And everybody wants to do well, but if you don't at first do good and be good enough, then doing well will never be enough." That's Anna Quindler, by the way. So guys, I hope that was helpful. It's already been like a while. I know you guys got things to do. But I really, truly share all this. And I want you, like I said, I want you to think about, are you abdicating your life? Are you failing to fulfill who you want to be? Are you failing to undertake an opportunity because of some story, because of a thought, because of something in your head? Because you have the power right here, right now, in today to change everything. You don't have to wonder and dream and think about being happy later when you can actually be happy and you can actually figure things out and be content in things right now. And this is exactly what we do in the membership, what I help people do, because I never want anybody to feel as lonely and as kind of hard, as bad as I was. And like, if I could get you guys and ride the waves with you and coach you and help you, imagine how much better your life is going to be on the other side of CRNA school. And that is truly what I want for you guys. I want you to have more belief in yourselves. I want you to have more commitment. I want you to stop looking for the perfect study method and the perfect YouTube video. And I want you to start looking within yourself and like, I know I can do this. I will figure this out. I am willing to fail. I am willing to be uncomfortable to get to whatever may come. And when I get there, I'll be able to figure it out because I've been working on what I'm thinking, working on who I want to be, and showing up as that person every single day, no matter what, and not resisting the pain, not running from the pain, but leaning into it, knowing that it's not going to kill you. It's just a feeling. And if you feel it and you're able to shift, that's where all the magic happens. And that's where your life change. And that is truly where your power is. I gave my power away to everybody in school. I want you guys to take it back for yourself and create an experience that you can be proud of, so that your life, when you get done, will be more incredible and more amazing than you've ever even dreamed of. That's what I want for you guys. All right, that's all I have. Let me see. There was a couple. Kay says, I love that quote. Yes, me too. Yes, I will post that CRNA thing. You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I loved hanging with you. Let's see, what did Mike say? Oh, keep being great. I love your content. My grandfather died during my second semester. He was my best friend 2 days before final exams. The best thing to do is become family with your classmates. Absolutely, Mike. And like I said, Mike was like, literally, we were 2 baby CRNAs starting our jobs together. Or we just walked in like clueless, like, do you know what you're doing? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, let's do it together. And Mike said, I wanted to walk away, but classmates kept me on track. It always works out. I love that, Mike. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's true too, is my classmates, I mean, the girl that I lived on her couch, like, I mean, her dad got sick in school and like she kept going, you know, like things are always going to be happen, but what can you think, what shifts can you make to keep getting through it? Where is like the commitment? Find work from commitment, guys. Well, thank you guys so much. Nadia, I'm so proud of you. You're doing big things. Thank you guys so much. Does anybody have any questions or anything about like anything in general? Comments, concerns, anything at all? Get some water. I didn't cough this whole time. Anything? I really appreciate your guys' time. Very much so. I hope this was helpful. And like I said, just be aware. Be aware of what you're thinking and ask yourself, is everything you're thinking true? And is it serving where you want to go? You're welcome, Evelyn. Hey, Janae. 2 of my girls, they're working on their brains in the membership. They're rocking it. Oh, you guys are so welcome. I'm very helpful. And I will tell you guys another thing too. When I was living in that little, when I was living in that studio apartment, once I passed boards, I literally like was typing up all my notes. And there was like this thought that I was like, cause I wanted to throw everything away and burn it. Cause I was like, I hate my life. But I remember sitting there and I had nothing else to do. And I remember typing up all my board notes and everything. And I was like, you know what? Maybe someday I'll be able to use this. And lo and behold, I give you guys all my notes in mentor sessions, all the notes in my membership, all of that. And it's so funny that all of that came from that little apartment. So you guys never know, like the things that are happening to you are truly happening for you, and not even just for you, but for the impact that you can make on other people. Because in reality, that's why we're here, right? We're here to help each other out. We're here to support each other. We're humans. We have connection. And if anything, I'm so grateful that all of that led me here with the membership and the members and all my mentees, as you guys truly make me so happy. And I am so happy just to be a little part of your guys' journey. So, all right. All right, guys, anything else? And then I'll pop off. Let's see. She said, was your first year of school harder than the remaining of school? Was my first year harder than the remaining of school? That's a good question. Maybe so, because of the transition. Like, I think the transition in was like kind of difficult, and getting a new schedule. I do feel like at one point I kind of got my groove. And how I looked at it is that, cause I think it was like, I had my master's, so it was like 2.5 years. But I remember, because, I graduated in December, and I remember the last year, I just remember thinking, I didn't look at it like, oh my God, 12 more months. I remember looking at it like, you know what? Every single month that goes by, I'm never going to be in anesthesia school again. There will never be a January I'm in school. There'll never be a March I'm in school. There will never be an August I'm in school. And I just like checked them off. And I knew that like this was it. And I just saw from January to December I was just rolling down a hill. So I don't know so I guess in a way it did, because I just looked at it like, this is it. I have 1 year to figure out what the heck I'm doing, and I never have to go back and do this over again. So let's freaking get it. So I think in that sense, it definitely was it was a little bit better than starting in the mess that I started with and trying to figure out school and figure out my relationship. And yeah. So and once again, it goes back to trusting yourself. You have to trust that you're going to figure it out. You do. And even working those 98 hours that I worked in, in that new job, I was, once again, guys, I was grateful for all the clinical experience, the being made fun of. I had like EKG leads thrown at me by like a surgeon. And the tech was like laughing at me. Everything that happened that I thought was happening to me, it was happening for me. Because I'll tell you what, working in the middle of the city in a very autonomous practice, like some things went down, I was grateful for all of it. I'm telling you guys, I promised you I would do all of it again, because it has made me a better CRNA and a better person. And I felt equipped to handle those 98 hours when I got out of school. I was like, I hadn't touched a patient in 5 months, but all the work, all the extra work I did, all the, the stuff, everything, it all like came in, it all just worked. Like when I came out, it all just settled in my brain. And I was like, I know how to do this. I'm the CRNA now. It's about leaning into like the who. I knew I needed to be the CRNA in those moments, and I became that. And then every day I went in, things got easier and better. And even now I'm still humbled. Shoot, I'm still humbled now. Anything else, guys? I got no baby right now, so I'm free. I'm a free woman. Anything else? I'm so appreciative of you guys. So appreciative. And then if anybody, like I said, anyone check out the membership. We do a lot of work, a lot of things to help you guys get through school differently and not be so on like the up and down like train, and how to I try to help you guys just go, instead of going like this and this, of just maybe a little bit more like this, because I know what it feels like to ride that ride. You're so welcome. Oops, I keep hitting other things. Anything else before I jump off, guys? Thanks for hanging out, Zach. I appreciate it. Oh, it came to you like that too? Yes. So the difficult airway email. Yeah, I think someone else had emailed me. I didn't know if it was just her or that. So yes, I will see about resending that email out. Absolutely. For sure. I'll see what I can do about that. Oh, he says he always looks forward to my coffee chat. So if you guys download I have 2 free clinical guides for when you start clinical. If you download those, and if you choose to stay on, I send you emails every week. So every Sunday, it's almost like I give you some clinical tips. I give you some kind of motivation stuff. So feel free to grab that, because I share a lot of, and I think a lot of like some of the things I've said today, I know I've shared with my email list. I think there's even a picture in there of like getting off the plane, like literally like traveling for 24 hours, no shower, no luggage, no nothing. There's like a picture of me in there. It's quite awesome. All right, guys, I am here for you. I'm always cheering you guys on. I will hold belief for you guys until you find the belief for yourselves. And just remember, what are you thinking? Pay attention to it. Be aware. Don't just like be flying in the wind to whatever's coming in your head. Pay attention to what you're thinking, and know that you can completely 100% create a different experience no matter where you are or what you're doing. Think about who you want to become, and everything else will follow. All right? You guys are awesome. Cheering you guys on. Go for it. Do the hard things. All of us can do anything we can figure out, and have an awesome freaking rest of your Thursday and a good weekend. And you guys know where to find me if you need anything. All right? All right. See you guys. Thank you so much.